What's up, guys? Kimmis here from Meanwhile in the Man Cave, where we take a look at everything pop culture, games, toys, or anything we think is cool. And today, we are unboxing yet another Todd McFarlane DC Multiverse figure. This one happens to be Deathstorm. Now, Deathstorm was created by the entity Necron in the Blackest Night storyline. And we've already unboxed a few figures from that line. We've unboxed Necron himself. We've unboxed Black Lantern Superman and Black Lantern Batman. So these main figures in the storyline, they actually are part of the Atrocitus Build-A-Figure line. If you're looking in here on the box, it looks like it's coming with Atrocitus's head and Atrocitus's shoulder pads. We've got also, looks like we got a lantern in here too. But the last video that we're going to do out of this line is going to be Atrocitus himself, but we're not quite here yet. All right, let's look at the back of the box here. The back of the box, you'd think there would be a picture of Deathstorm, but no, that's not what they do on here. They got a picture of Atrocitus for the Build-A-Figure line, along with some of the other figures in the line, ones we just mentioned, like Black Lantern Batman and Black Lantern Superman. And also you've got Deathstorm on there, and the next one we're doing after this, which would be Kyle Rayner. All right, let's get this guy out of the box. Undo some of these zip ties on the back, which is going to take a little bit. So, but before we do that, inside of this package, same with all the others, comes with a trading card. Deathstorm one in particular, and this one, and the stand. Again, the stand's about the same size as the one that comes with the Mega Figs. Go figure. But probably not going to take those out right now. We're going to take a look at the figure, get him out, get the zip ties off, and give you a better look. All right, got those zip ties undone. Let's get him out of here. Free him from the plastic. Very, very cool looking figure here. Now this one looked good even online, so not surprisingly looks good like this. No cape or anything with this one, doesn't really need it though. Now, if you're looking at him, you know he's got some nice texture on his back. Almost a decaying look. Got almost a translucent, black fire coming out of its head. And then that skull face, which is pretty sick. All right, let's take a look at his range of motion here with the articulation. So here we go, we've got the wrists. Now, these wrists will twirl around too here outside of where the normal hinge is. So just be careful, be aware of that, because the wrist is obviously only going to, pivot in the direction of that hinge. So just know where that hinge is when you try to, move this so you don't break it. All right, so it's got a pretty good range of motion there. You've got your double joint here at the elbow, which is pretty standard with all these McFarlane figures. Get your elbow movement side to side, forward and back. Got it's a pretty good range of motion there. So you can get a nice pose, pretty dynamic. It's going to be the same thing with the other side, so I'm not going to go and double up on that side. Now let's look at his head. Head-wise, it's not going to be a whole lot. I mean, it's your side to side. A little bit of downward motion, but he doesn't have an incredibly huge range of motion with his head. Now, at his waist, right around here, you've got multiple joints there. That way you can kind of almost get that ab crunch type movement in there. And then you've got your leg joints, which will go out, swivel, back and forth. I don't know if there's much side to side there, but who needs it? And here you go. You've got your double joints at the knee again, so you can get a pretty decent range of motion. And down here at his leg, his foot, we've got side to side motion, forward and back, just like in all the McFarlane figures, and the toe movement. So that's pretty much it with him. For the articulation anyway. All right, guys, so here we go. Now, wasn't as easy to pose as I would have thought. Now, for me, it was more or less the fact that you've got this shape on his uniform. And I didn't really want to mess that up too much. It is a little off here, but nothing too crazy. But if you went anything too nuts, it would really kind of like throw that shape off, and I think it would bother me. So the one thing I wish they had done now, ironically, this is the figure I had the least amount of doubt on, but it is the one that I have a little small complaint about. So he doesn't have a cape or anything, where the Superman and Batman do and everything. Not a lot of peripherals, so there's not as much to him, it seems like. So I wish they'd included some sort of energy projection that you could have used on his hand, kind of like he was shooting energy or something. I wish they'd kind of included that. That could have been kind of a cool thing. Overall, I do like the figure. There is a lot of detail on it. Looking at his shoulder pads here, they seem to be like decaying. You could still get a pretty interesting pose with him, but with the energy projection, it could really put it over the top. They could have included 2 of those in here, because even the Atrocitus pieces in there aren't very, it's just his head and his shoulder pads. So they could have thrown the energy in there, and it wouldn't have driven the cost up on this that much. Now let's get him spun around, kind of take a look at the back as well. So here's his back. Again, a lot of texture to this. Almost like the human body's rotting underneath of it. Underneath like the uniform. It's hard to focus with so much dark colors on this, but kind of get the idea. I like the Batman and Superman so much on those. Those are just because they exceeded my expectations by so much. This I expected a lot out of right at the get-go. So, but I do like the hair that's kind of translucent. Now, it'd be cool if they made a higher priced version with some LED function. That would be pretty awesome. But still, pretty darn cool figure. It'll look good with Necron and the rest of the Black Lanterns. It'd be cool if they did a few more Black Lanterns as well in the future. Well, anyways, next figure we're going to be doing will be Kyle Rayner Green Lantern, before we end up doing in the next video after that, Building of Atrocitus. So anyway, I want to thank you guys all for tuning in. Thank you so much for all your support. And come back for the next episode of Meanwhile in the Man Cave. I'll talk to you guys later.